Hello, everyone. This is Alternative Revelations with Linda Emanuel, and this is podcast number 171. And if this resonates with you, so be it. If not, just disregard it. This is all about the lockdown, what to expect, and this is a day-to-day what is going to be happening. Okay, Mosh told me to get out by the 8th of September from St. Louis County. And he didn't lie to me, but he wanted to make sure I got out. Because, if you tell somebody, oh, you got to get out by the 27th, you might wait till the 26th and not be able to get out. So he didn't fib to me, but he kind of didn't tell me the total truth. And I don't know if that's lying when you don't tell somebody something. But, okay, so the lockdown will start as soon as people start getting sick from these Nestle products. It could be the 8th, 9th, 10th, or 11th. It just depends how many people get sick and whether they can justify a lockdown. Now, it's not going to take one or two people to get sick. People are going to have to really be convinced. But he says a rule of thumb is when people start getting reported in your area as getting sick, he said you really got a 24-hour window to get out if you want to get out. So expect around the 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th. I'm just giving you a big window there because who knows when people in your area, when they'll finally shut it down. Hold on, he's just telling me something. It will definitely be by the 11th in these cities. Okay, so this is another slow frog kill. They're going to still let trucks in and out. But if you try to sneak out in a truck, one of those big over-the-road trucks, they're going to search trucks and make sure nobody can get out. And they're going to put a blockade all around your city. And for instance, in St. Louis and St. Louis County, you're going to be able to travel back and forth. But St. Louis is a special, they're doing something special with St. Louis City. So Mosh said you probably, if you live in a area with a lot of different towns, you'll be able to travel within your boundaries, within the blockade. But let's say people who live in Illinois, who cross over the river, the Mississippi River, to go to work, they're not going to be allowed to go to work. You won't be able to cross the blockades in or out. So people will still be working. People will still be able to get food and gasoline, but Nestle's going to still be bringing in those products. And Niche, who does podcasting, she said she's been noticing promotions. So watch for promotions in your area on this food. Maybe running specials on it. Buy one, get one free, DiGiorno pizza. And the brucellosis, in fact, way back in the 1500s, Mosh told me that the brucellosis bacteria was the cause of the sweating sickness because the brucellosis bacteria causes profuse sweating. And yes, you can die from it. And many people who caught this organism died within 24 hours. And it was contagious through eating or contaminated goat meat, cow, sheep, and milk products and cheese products. So that's exactly what these Nestle products are. They contain a lot of them contain cheese, and also the meat is contaminated. So in all probability, people who are experiencing a Nestle contaminated food symptoms will have profuse sweating, chills, fever, flu-like symptoms. And this organism is very contagious. People and families will all come down with it. So people back in the 1500s, when you hear about the sweating illness, that's what it was. It was a brucellosis bacteria caught from eating contaminated food because the brucellosis bacteria is heat resistant. So getting back to the lockdown. So Nestle's is still bringing in these products, putting them on the shelf. People are eating these products, and more and more people are getting sick. So people will be able to go drive their cars around. There will be a curfew. People will not be able to leave the city. And people really won't panic because they got their food, they got their water, they've got their cell phones, they got the internet. Now what they want people, once this outbreak occurs, they want people to call to the outside and say, oh my gosh, we're in lockdown. We're under quarantine. People are sick here. People are getting sick. And the media will be putting out information about, oh, this city is really sick. It's locked down. It's quarantined. They want people on the outside to start believing this coronavirus is real. And people will still be able to communicate back and forth to the outside. Now, Mosh is telling me around October 27th, there will be a total lockdown. People will not be able to go to work. People will not be able to leave their houses. And there will be patrolling guards, like in Australia right now, what's happening in Victoria, patrolling the streets, not letting people out of their houses. But yet people aren't panicked yet. And then sometime in the night, the day one is October 28th. Sometime in the night, the grid will be shut off when people aren't expecting it, when people are sleeping. And right before that, cell phones and internet will be cut off. And on October 27th, no trucks will be allowed to come into St. Louis. Now on day one of October 28th, when the grid is cut off, this will allow the smart meters, them to start pumping in the frequency through the smart meters into the house. And since people are quarantined, not being able to leave their homes, stuck inside their homes, this is when the kill starts. They're going to be pumping, if you didn't turn your breakers off, your house, your smart meter will be pumping or surging or pulsing 10 gigahertz through the house. People really won't notice this from day 1 to 7. And then 8 and 9, I believe, they'll crank it up to 20, and that's twice as high as airport x-rays. But people still won't notice. And on day 10 is when the kill starts. On day 10, they crank your smart meter up to 35 gigahertz, pulsing through your house. And at 35 gigahertz, the electrons on the oxygen start spinning. And your red blood cells cannot pick up the oxygen. And this is when people start feeling oxygen deprivation. But they're stuck in their house and probably with the windows closed because it's cold outside. It's November now. And by day 13, 14, 75% of the people will be dead because that 35 gigahertz has been being pulsed through the house. Now, some people will still be alive, but on day 15 and 16, Mosh told me they'll be pumping up the smart meters to 50 gigahertz. It's impossible to live at 50 in a house, in a closed-off house. There won't be any breathable oxygen. And the towers on the outside, there'll be 35 gigahertz on day 10 through 14. And Sweden's surviving that right now. And the guards now, between day 10 and 14, the guards will be experiencing oxygen deprivation. So there's a window there where you're going to be able to get out. But that's going to be another podcast. I'll go over that again. So on day 15, 16, it's 50 gigahertz on the outside and the inside in the target's areas. On day 18, they crank the outside to 60 gigahertz. Day 19, they crank your smart meter up to 60 gigahertz. The house explodes, ignites, burns to the ground, reduced to ashes. Day 18 through day 50, the outside towers are pulsing out 60 gigahertz microwave frequency. Nothing can live through that. No trees, nothing. Fish in the lakes will die. Worms will die. Any insect will die. Nothing can survive that. And everything, all the trees will be cooked and dead. And at day 50, they shut it off. And for 1 year, no one can enter a kill zone. Life is not, you can't sustain life. There's no oxygen. It'll take a whole year to be able to sustain life. Maybe plants will start growing again. I don't know. But Mosh said nothing will be able to live. It'll be like going onto the moon. There won't be any oxygen. So that's the scenario about the lockdown. The big dates are the 27th and 28th. When 27th, without you knowing it, they'll cut off your cell phone and internet. You won't have any access to the outside world. Nobody will know what happened to you. And propaganda will probably tell people, the propaganda will be, oh, all the people in the city died. The media will really be working on this with the outside world, but you'll know if people who are in safe areas, they will know what happened. And there will be, Mosh said there will be people getting out. There will be. So that covers the lockdown, what to expect. And I'm going to do a podcast on how to get out again. You can just go through my podcast, How to Escape and Survive the Kill Zones. And I'm going to be able to podcast all the way up to probably the 26th. So Mosh and I will be able to go over cities and the routes out. So here I thought the internet and cell phones were going to be out by the 15th, but that wouldn't make sense because then people will still have their strength and be able to break through the blockades and get out. No, they're going to do a slow frog kill and just all of a sudden their cell phones and internet and power will be off at the same time. And they still won't figure it out because they'll just think, oh, all the power went out. I don't have my cell phone or my internet. And they won't panic yet. And by day 10, the frequency will be surging 35 gigahertz, and they'll just think they got the coronavirus. And I doubt if any ambulances will take people to the hospitals, or there won't be any hospital workers because they won't be allowed to go to work. So that covers about the lockdown. I hope this was a little bit informative. And I'll check with, if I come back on, I'm going to check with Mosh. Is everything okay? Just like Las Vegas, he made me come back on and tell the truth, but I'm pretty sure this is accurate. But I always check with him to make sure everything is correct because I don't want to mess up. So until next time, good night and God bless.